This video is Open Up Resources 8.4.3 and 8.4.4. We're looking at more balanced moves. To get started, we are going to complete this warm-up, so pause the recording, give yourself enough time to get this warm-up done. Let's go over this so that students who got it wrong in class can find their mistakes. We have three groups of 2x. Three groups of 2x means I have 6x. And three groups of 1. That's 3 times 1, that's plus 3. Don't forget, just doing the groups or doing that distribution isn't enough. We still have minus x left over. And it's equal to and balanced with. I took one simplifying step here on the left-hand side, so I am going to take one simplifying step on the right-hand side too, just so that I don't spend forever showing my work and bringing everything down. One step on the left side, one step on the right side, and I have 2x tiles that can combine with 5x tiles, giving me 7x tiles. And I have 15 unit tiles that are going to combine with 4 negative unit tiles to give me 13. The right-hand side is now completely simplified. The left-hand side is not. I have 6x minus x. Those x tiles combine to give me 5x. Plus those same 3 unit tiles that we had before. Now the left-hand side is simplified and the right hand side is simplified. I have x in 2 different places though, so part of my solving steps is going to be subtracting 5x from the left hand side so that that zeroes out and balancing it by doing the same thing over here. I now have 3 is equal to 7x minus 5x simplifies to 2x plus those 13 unit tiles. So now, when I subtract 13 from each side, 3 minus 13 is negative 10, which is equal to 2x. We can then divide each side by 2. And we get not 5, but negative 5 is equal to x. Math Practice 6, Attend to Precision. I did have a handful of students who told me that x was equal to 5. Please make sure you're careful with your negatives. Let's continue on with 8.4.3. We actually did finish lesson 3, which was the balanced moves. Now it's time to finish up lesson 4. All right, in the last video, I did assign number 3 as homework. Let's go over that now. As we also mentioned in the last video, dividing each side by 4 is mathematically correct, but it is going to present some challenges because 3 divided by 4 is going to be 3/4 of an x. And just like we're probably going to make mistakes if we deal with negatives, we're probably also going to open ourselves up for mistakes if we deal with fractions. So in this particular problem, it's probably better to use Noah's way of solving this, which means I'm going to have the 3x minus 8 on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side I'm going to distribute. 4 groups of x is 4x, and 4 groups of 5 is 20. So now I'm going to subtract the 3x from each side. You could have subtracted 4x from each side if you want to, but it is going to leave us with negative x's. So this way is a little bit better. This zeroes out, and I'm left with, be careful, not just 8, but negative 8. Which is equal to 4x minus 3x is one single x plus 20. Now we subtract the 20 from each side. And we do get negative 8 minus 20 is negative 28, which is equal to x. How'd you guys do? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down? Okay, great. Let's move on. This is officially lesson 4. More balanced moves. Folks, we shouldn't be talking right now. All we did was move to a new page. Unit 4, Lesson 4, more balanced moves. So, step by step by step by step is what this one is called. Because as you have seen, just like on our warm-up, these are multiple step equations. There's a lot of steps involved in the simplifying and then multiple steps involved in the solving process. So, here's an equation and all the steps that Claire wrote to solve it, the same equation and all the steps that Lynn wrote to solve it. So see if you can follow their work, see if you can identify what is happening in each step, And then are both of their solutions correct? Explain your reasoning. Describe some ways the steps they took are alike and different. Don't move on to number 3 because that's a different situation, but you can answer 1 and 2 here. Pausing the recording as students work on this in class with their groups. You do the same at home. Ready, set, go. Okay, are both of their solutions correct? Yeah. What's the difference? Just focus on just the solution. What is different about those solutions? Kaden? Yeah, which side the X is on, right? It doesn't matter. It's just looking at the scale from the front side or looking at the scale from the back side. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't change. So yes, their solutions are correct. We could have also verified by plugging in a -8 for the X's from the original equations. We could have done that. What are the differences in the steps that they took? That's what I want to focus on. What are the differences in the steps? And I'm going to focus on the right-hand side because the right-hand side is the more familiar side. So let's just go through this. What is the step that they took to go from here to here? What's happening? Siley? Yep. 14x minus 2x is 12x. So they just combine like terms. What's the step that they took to go from the second line to the third line? What's that step that they're doing? Sam? Yeah, they're doing the distribution, right? They're simplifying. Yep. They distribute, which is part of simplifying. And then how do they go from this row to this row? What are they doing? I cannot see whose hand that is. Dexton. Yep, they subtracted 3 from each side. Which is not the way I like. I like moving the X's around first, but it's okay if you do that. And so then we can see, since they subtracted the 3 from each side, what's the next step that they do from here to here? Not enough hands. I've already called on all of these hands. Emery, thank you. Double check. We're going from this row to this row, not the last step. This one to this one. Look at what's gone. I'll let you answer the next one, Emery. Let's go to Danielle. Yep, because the 15x plus 24 is here, and now the 15x is gone, which means they probably subtracted 15x. I hope they did it from both sides. Did they? Yeah. Because we did have 12x, and now it's -3x, so we did subtract the 15x from both sides. So Emery, what did they do here in the final step? Here they divided by -3. Okay, that's familiar. That's probably the steps that you would have taken. This is what's a little bit different. What's happening in this one? How do we go from the first step to the second step? First step to the second step. I've already called on that hand. I'm going to wait. Timothy. Yeah, they did. They combine like terms. I'm just going to duplicate that and put that over there. First step is the same. What's the step that they took to go from row 2 to row 3? I think only a handful of students recognized it. Is that Gracie in the corner? Yeah, what they did, we haven't used this term. We haven't called it this other than one single time. They factored it out. So they didn't officially divide the whole side. They just factored it out. So they put it into groups. We did that back on September 30th. These are the notes from our class. I had you write 6x plus 12 in different ways. And you're like, well, what if we just put that into groups? So you factored out a 6. You divided out a 6. You said that could be 6 groups of 1x plus 2. All of these are different versions of factoring. We could have put it in 3 groups. 3 groups of 2x plus 4 or 2 groups of 3x plus 6. So you guys are already somewhat familiar with this concept. We just really haven't focused on it. But that is exactly what these students did here. They factored out that 3, which then leads very nicely into that next step. What is the step that we're doing to go from here to here? Sam? Yeah, now we're dividing both sides by 3. We already divided it out, meaning we factored it out, but now when we do it to both sides, that 3, the 3 groups, we're now saying we don't need 3 groups, let's just look at just one group. And from there, those steps are a little bit easier because we're dealing with a little bit smaller numbers. Here we had 12x and 15x and 24. Now it's 4x and 5x. And so the next step, 4x plus 1 equals 5x plus 9. What's the change going from that row to that row? What's happening here? Talk with your groups and you should know this. Look at it. See if you can figure it out. Emma. Yeah, they subtracted 4x from both sides. And now finally we have 1 equals x plus 9. So the final step that has been taken. Charlie? Yep, they subtract 9 from each side. Because we only have just one x by itself, so all I have to do is subtract 9 from both sides. So describe some ways the steps they took are alike and different. I'm just going to say see above. I feel like that's a pretty good comparison going through that. But the key thing is something that you haven't really seen before is this option to factor. Maya and Noah also solved the equation, but some of their steps have errors. Find the incorrect step in each solution and explain why it is incorrect. Same equation, which we've now solved correctly twice, so hopefully you can find the error with your groups. Ready, set, go. Pausing the recording now. Okay, what's the mistake that Maya made? Here's Maya or May. What mistake did Maya make? Peyton. Yeah, they're still in groups. So if I really think about this, do I really have just 5x on this side? No. So if I'm getting rid of 5x, there's still 2 other groups of 5x that I haven't gotten rid of. So that's exactly it. She tried getting rid of the 5x when it was still inside of grouping symbols. This is a mistake. Let's describe it. We got to simplify first. We've got to do that distribution first. Good job recognizing that mistake. What about Noah? What is the mistake that Noah made? This is a mistake that I see a lot. I don't see this one as much sometimes, but not nearly as much as this. Lance. Yep, exactly. They tried getting rid of the 15x, but then it's definitely not balanced when I subtract it from one side and add it to the other. That's exactly what happened. So the mistake is somewhere along here. Subtracted 15x from one side, added on the other side. Yes, Kaden. The comment that was made for anyone watching the video, they said that looks like the word SIX6 when it's really a 5x. Okay, nicely done. And now it's your turn. We're no longer reading anyone else's steps. You get to make your own steps. We're working with our groups here, solving each of these on our own, and then we're going to come back together and solve them a couple of different ways. With your groups, ready, set, go. These solving steps will be in a third video, so stay tuned for the next video to see the solving steps on these problems. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.